Hello friends, as you know it's me, Manoe. I'm originally from New Zealand and I'm a Polynesian Samoan that has decided to move myself to Ghana. And I just want to talk to you guys about things that I've discovered here on my journey. And one of the first things that I had to learn, apart from saying please and thank you in Tree and Ga and Ewe, was probably how to navigate trotros. So trotros probably how to navigate trotros. So trotros or troskies, if you look up the history of those, I call them hot boxes because basically they're like the bus system really. They're like broken down old vans that people use for public transport, and it's a cheap way of getting around Ghana when you don't have much money, but you have to know where you alight or you get off, and you say me patro me isi waha, which is like I want to get down here, or if you know the landmarks, that's really helpful. So what I started doing was that I wrote down, say where I lived to the first place I went to, say like there's a place called Circle. I wrote down how many cities it was, so like 8 cities or 9 cities, and I kept a little wee diary of that. And because of inflation and how things are difficult here, it can change, but it's usually about the same. So I think you'll get someone that will try and hustle because they see me as Obroni or Blofinu. They see me as white, which is something that I don't identify with growing up as a quite an activist Polynesian mixed heritage. I don't deny my other heritage, but I found that really strange. So sometimes they'll try and charge you an extra cedi just to see if you'll say anything about it, and believe me, I have said something about it. So you just need to know which direction it's going, how much it is, and how to say that you want to get off. So it's really important to learn the landmarks and the signposts of places that everyday Ghanaians know. So they might say signboard, or you might say roundabout, and you need to know as a foreigner what they mean by roundabout or what they mean by signpost. Maybe another landmark, you might think, oh, it's the Shell stations, the Shell filling station. At this place they call that signpost or signboard. Or maybe the roundabout is where you get, say maybe you get a juice, and that's where you get the juice from. That roundabout is the place that maybe for you the landmark is slightly different. So if you can learn those things, that's really helpful in taking note of how much things cost from the destination you start at to where you want to go. Keep a wee diary of that so that you know how much it's going to cost you in cities. What's another thing to it? There's so much with trotros. You have to be really careful that you know when you get onto a trotro, that you look out for any kind of sharp metal bits sticking out. People will cut themselves on like a rusty bit of metal, or you'll sit in a seat that's like basically your knees are being crushed at the back. So you just have to kind of realize that it's not easy. Ghanaians have been dealing with this for ages, and as a foreigner you just have to either go with the flow and understand that they're not perfect, but they're a cheap way of getting around. And if you get lost, you can always ask someone, because they do speak English here, but you have to find someone that understands, number one, my accent, because I'm not American. They do find it hard to understand me, but it's good to find, just to understand that, what you're in for. You can sit in the middle and be squished and be like sweating, but when you get out, you're like, it's a...
Adolescents, adults, childhood, infants, teenage, children, way sweat. They'll be there for
sense of relief. I got onto a trotro once, and as I pulled myself up, because it was quite high, I was holding onto a seat, and when I took my hand off the seat, somehow I accidentally hit a lady in the face, and it was terrible, and I felt so embarrassed. So I had to say, "Ame facha me," so please, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So you learn these little words. I learned speaking some tree on trotros basically, and I asked the people I'm staying with and friends what it meant. So I tried to remember little phrases to see like what that meant, so that would help me when I was dealing with people, you know, day to day. But trotros are a cheap way or method of transport. I also think too, you have to know, like, if you're coming from whatever direction it is, sometimes you think that the trotro will pass by maybe where you live, but sometimes it could be, say, they'll say tema, and maybe you're catching a tema trotro that passes by your house or where you live, but then if you're in a different area, that tema trotro might go a different way, so it will go nowhere near your house, or it might go around. So it's another good thing of just asking like what streets it goes down, so that you don't get lost and freak out. You can always call someone. It's good to have, you know, a cell phone and people that you can say, hey, I'm going to try and catch this trotro on this day. I'll give you a call if I get stuck. So that's another helpful thing too. But, you know, have a go at it. Like, you'll never know and never experience life in reality if you are constantly taking Bolts, which are also like Ubers, or Yangos like Ubers, or someone's driving you around. If you get on a trotro, you start to people get used to you, and you understand how things work, and it's a bit of a fun journey. Just be prepared. It's a long journey at times because they want to stop to fill the trotro so it's maximum capacity and they make money off it. They might try and hustle you an extra cedi or dollar, whatever you want to call it, an extra cedi, because you're white looking, and it's really hot and sweaty. So I recommend taking a face towel or flannel or something so that you've got that with you, and drinking water so that you're not dehydrated. But be prepared to be squished. People are used to it. They're not going to sit there and judge you. Everyone's in the same boat, and it's just a cheap way of getting around. Have a go.
I feel